Good evening and welcome to Here's the Life with Zemrah and Ed, my better half, right here at IntellectualRadio.com. And as I stated on my post this morning, we are so happy to have the lovely, the talented, the lady herself, the Bronzeville Diva, Miss Senabella in the house. This girl, we go back so far. I was just telling our producer, Earl, Cineabella is so gifted and so talented, but Cineabella is too funny, too. She could be a comedian. She could do stand-up, of course, yes, along with everything else. She is just too funny. But we're so happy to have you join us.
I'm more excited than you can know.
Really?
Yes, of course I am.
Oh,
It's like when you go home to the South and you ain't seen your family all year and you try to make sure you bring the best dish. It's like that for me right now.
And that's what I love about her. She is so very, very witty. So we go, the time goes by fast, and we really want you all to know a little bit about her. The reason why I really wanted to bring Senabella to our podcast and to this audience, because she's the lady that really understands this world of jazz. She's been working with Robert Irving III.
Robert Irving III.
The third. Yeah, thanks. For
over 20 years.
Over 20 years.
Yeah.
On my post, I said for a lot of years, creating good music, jazz, and keeping it. She works with young people and all. But I'm just gonna read a little bit about her. Senabella, affectionately known as the Bronzeville Diva, is a powerhouse vocalist, educator, producer. She's an author whose life's work celebrates and preserves the rich legacy of jazz, particularly through the voices of Black women in Chicago. Her journey chronicles in her upcoming book, Finding Jazz, begin with a deep personal calling and has evolved into a movement, building platforms like the Bronzeville Diva, a now trademark brand that began as a tribute and has grown into a series of sold out shows, youth initiatives, and historical musical productions. As a performer, she released 3 albums, If You Ask Me To, which we're going to play for you during our break, and Love Is, and then another one of her tunes, and The Art of Protest, and created impactful showcases like the Chicago Living Legacies, the Young Diva, Young Devo. She's been honored with numerous awards, including the Queen's Award of the 2024 Presidential Award Ceremony in Chicago, and continues to produce community-rooted projects like the Wildflower Music Festival, which at ITT, which I was blessed to, where she booked me for that. It was really, really, really good. I'm gonna let her tell you a little bit about some of the artists that she had, but one of the artists that she had was Thaddeus Dukes on the xylophone, and then she's gonna share with you the young guys. I mean, we're talking about 23, 24-year-olds that, do straight ahead jazz. Ed and I, we were blown away. I couldn't believe it.
I cannot believe these young guys.
And they took some of the old. They could play some of the old guys up under the table. I was smitten. It was awesome. And through collaborations with jazz guests, like I shared with you, Robert Irving III, and her long-standing commitment, because she's been with him, like you said, 20 years. And then she has a commitment to youth education. Senabella works with young artists, that know jazz inside and out, which these young guys, she's, kind of, I'm gonna let you tell what you've done, to really make them visible in the jazz industry, which I think is awesome. Cineabella continues to inspire the next generation, proving that purpose, passion, and persistence will always lead the way. And that's something that she's been doing a long time, being persistent, and being aggressive where it needs to be aggressive. She also has her own podcast, every Friday morning at 7, which is Breakfast with Senabella.
Coffee break.
coffee break.
I need
And
some
you can
breakfast
have
with
some
it.
break,
Mhm.
but she has some dynamic guests too. So she's gonna talk a little bit. I want her to talk about the jazz world and what it's meant to her, her participation in it, how she keeps it alive and going, which is good because we don't want jazz to get away.
Mhm.
We just don't. And so the things that you're doing in Bronzeville and the things that you're creating with Bobby, uh, I think it's very significant and it deserves to be talked to here at Intellectual Radio with Zemrah and Ed. Here's the light with Zemrah. So,
Yes.
first of all, I want you to share with the audience some of the things that you're doing right now in the jazz world. And what is your opinion? And how are you doing? And what are you really doing to keep jazz alive? Which we've shared some of that. But what are you doing? What do you feel that you're doing to really keep jazz going
Well,
in our community?
well, first, let me just say this. I am as excited as I could be to be here sitting with you and Ed. You all a homegrown family,
Yes.
and I take my nod from you. I heard that voice, and I said, "Dang, she can sing." And somebody said, "Oh, Cineabella, you have a sweet little voice." I said, "But I'm never opening it up. I'm never going to use it because you were so magnificent." And I was just literally at the knee of everything you were doing, from the way you sang and dressed and the way you decorated your home and your husband, all that. I just loved you. And
Yeah.
of course, love you too.
Thank you.
Y'all know I love you. You are our family because this is the heart of what family is, right? When you choose the people that have given you the embodiment and energy of their lives, and they just dedicated to their lives so much, they're just like attractors, so you all were my crush, and I just fell into it and said, okay, let me go on out of here and show them what I can do, and I was inspired and I wanted to be inspiring, and that's really where it came from. That push into it. I, of course, am born a third generation artist. My grandmother being Senabella Brown. She Senabella Covington Pope Bowles Finna Brown. Let me just get that right. And she came into Chicago during the Great Black Migration with her daughter, my mother, and had left her husband in Money, Mississippi, and went to Arkansas, and then came to Chicago. And as a result of that, she was educated. She was a teacher, a certified teacher, and a classical pianist and a writer. And she had been thrown out of her home by her family, who was white, because her French white father died, left her a great amount of things, and they took it from her and threw her out.
Wow.
So she migrated to Chicago with my mother, and she found that here prejudice, colorism was like super big. And but in Bronzeville, before it was called Bronzeville, it was just that place, right? It was everywhere everyone migrated to because of the Defender newspaper, right? So she came, and she came with her story and her style of living, and she found that she had to figure out how to fit in, and no one would hire her, so she went to all of the joints that had record labels, and so she placed her music on the back of everybody's records on different labels under all her names.
Wow.
Yeah, so she's on some as
Creative.
Finner, some as Senabella Brown. I mean, she just went through it. She wrote Thunder and all kind of baseball blues and everything, working with everybody. Joe Henderson name. I mean, I can just go through it. And so my filter is really deep and enmeshed
It's
in a
grounded.
history of, say, creative arts. And then my
Yes.
mother grew up with the Afro Arts Theater with Phil Coran and Val Gray Ward. And she was always taking us to her rehearsals, and we go down the street to the Northern NEIU, which is now, as we know, as the Carruthers Center. And I went across the street to Holy Angels. So I was
Wow.
born and raised in Bronzeville, where the footprint of my family started.
Yes.
And it wouldn't be until the Google was came up, and I was looking for my cell phone and thinking maybe I could find something on me. And my grandmother kept coming up. I hadn't become anything yet.
Wow.
And I said, I really got to work hard at it.
And
I
you've
had-
done that.
Yeah. And it's not like well, for me, it's not like I woke up knowing I was at work. I just had this vision, and I believed it, And if somebody said I could do it, I went home and said, you could do this because you know what? You're about to make some money.
Right. It's embedded in you.
Yeah.
And it shows.
I'm like, well, let me go do this.
Yeah.
It wasn't work to you.
Mhm.
It wasn't work at all.
No, it wasn't hard at all, but the money was real. I just want you to know I did thrive for that money.
And ain't nothing wrong with that.
And I didn't know how much I was supposed to be paid. I didn't know, where the money was coming from, but whenever it hit my hand, it made the box and I just held on to it.
That's right. And when you're doing what I always say, when you're doing what you love, that makes a difference too.
Yeah.
And then growing up in a musical family like that,
Mhm.
that makes a big difference too.
Yeah, and I kept falling in love over and over and over again. Every artist offered me something that I could look at and say, man, I got to try and figure out how to do that. And so I took myself to the Art Institute and I said, I need to get some voice lessons. And maybe I still start trying to use my piano lessons from when I was a kid, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I started writing. And then, just getting to the real meat of the story, one day I was given the Best New Jazz Artist Award in New York from KISS FM 106.7. I was like, how'd I get here?
Wow.
And
there's that determination and persistence.
I'm like, how did I get here?
I keep working.
And then after
Well,
that
she's a
happened,
worker.
I just came back and started working. I didn't know once you had an award, you were supposed to be celebrated. So every time an award came, I just kept working. I didn't think there was supposed to be something like dinner or something, where people were like, oh, she just got this. Today, everyone celebrates everything. And I'm like, where was my celebration?
Yeah.
But I wasn't
What
telling
made you not think that you should celebrate and receive an award?
it never crossed my mind.
Wow.
All I was thinking about is I better do a whole lot more because people are going to ask me, what did I do for that? And it was so many great people who were really doing things that I admired. So I didn't know where I fit in on the scale of all that. Even though people were
Wow.
telling me, I just didn't have a sense of it. I was like, well, and then I started realizing there were so many more things you could do. And there was aggravation because I wasn't let into the spots. I wasn't allowed into the room. Nobody was making space for me. So I had to find a way to make space and to make money. And so when Malachi Thompson called me a Bronzeville Diva, when I later on was introduced to him through another show, a live show called Live from the Warehouse, and he played some bebop. And I was like, well, when are you going to do an article or something on how bebop and hip hop are the same? He said, I don't know. Maybe you should write it. I said, well, I can't write it. And he pulled me into his room and he put me on the board of the Southern Community Arts Initiative. And he started mentoring me and all those brothers and sisters who were on there. And they had the South Shore magazine and all that. And I was walking down the street in Bronzeville and he was showing me where everybody had come and gone and done things. And I went, wow. He said, well, you're a Bronzeville Diva too. I'm like, I am. Well, how the hell did I get to be a Bronzeville Diva?
You are the Bronzeville
Today I
Diva
am.
today.
See, that's why ignorance is bliss.
It is.
She just kept working. She didn't know who she was.
I didn't. And I didn't even
Other people recognizing it
Yeah.
and you didn't know.
I'm telling you, I would go
awards.
to shows and I would be, how you running behind and people are coming into the room. I remember I had a gig in Bronzeville and they had put out I was going to be there. I hadn't put on my makeup yet, so I grabbed my dress and I pulled up and I parked and I saw all these brothers going. They were fine. Everybody was in the room looking good. And I looked and then they said, come on, man. I'm going to get in the room. I'm going to hit a seat at Bronzeville Diva. I said, me too. And they didn't even look at me. They just went on inside. They just went on inside. And I was like, oh.
And they were coming to
They
see
didn't-
you.
Yeah, but they didn't know I was not dressed up like
Right.
this. Like and I just went in there. When I went in there and started singing, they just clapping and stuff. And I'm like, oh, I better sing my ass off because this gonna be one. I'm in trouble right now.
Oh my God.
I was, and they were like, it's the Bronzeville Diva. And I was looking around like, where is she?
Oh wow.
You are it.
So I wanted to not have to hold that. It was such a heavy title. And I went to Malachi and I said, can I produce a show with that name? And he's sure you could do anything you want with it. You're the Bronzeville Diva. And I went, I'm the Bronzeville Diva. So I went and found a graphic designer and I asked her, would she create a logo? Because at that point I had become really heavily business astute.
Mhm.
I mean, I was learning from everything and everybody. And I took that logo and I took that name and I said, I'm going to put some other sisters with me. So I grabbed Maggie Brown and Dee Alexander. I went to them and asked them would they do the show with me. And they said yes. And they did it because of Malachi Thompson more than me. I was no one to listen to. And then we did the show. I have pictures now showing us all three together, and we sold that house out like 2-3 times.
Wow.
You know, we had 2-3 shows a night over at the Checkerboard.
And what is Maggie doing? And she said,
Are you kidding? Maggie's doing the same thing I'm doing now. She's producing and mentoring and pushing forward.
I know she a tough lady.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You got to be
Maggie's
tough to be in
cool.
this business.
You do.
It's not like R&B. It's not like pop. It's not like any of it. So when you ask the question, where is jazz going? I'm going to tell you where it's coming.
That's what I
where
want
it's
to know.
coming to. Yeah. But we had to lay down those bricks, and I tell people in the book, I had this one black dress that I wore so often because it made me look like I was really super like in the business. And I said, I'm wearing this dress. And so in the book, I call it my one black dress with the single black ruffle.
Oh,
You know,
wow.
and
Yeah.
it just made me look a certain way. And if you catch one of my videos on YouTube, which I'm doing summertime at the old hot house,
Mhm.
then I'm wearing that dress.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So when is the book coming out? When it was
I keep saying it's finished, but then
you still haven't gotten your time frame yet.
you know what? I'm scared, to be honest. I don't know where it came from. It's like this book just showed up in my life one day, and I'm like, I'm gonna let people read this, and that's where I'm at. And so people come to me, and when they hear it, they're like, "Oh, Cineabella, like we have to do this as a stage play," and I'm like, "Oh heck," you know. But it is
That's not a bad idea.
It's gonna happen.
Yeah. Well, you have to when you're releasing, a book, and I'm sure it's going to be phenomenal. You have to do it at your time and at your pace.
It's not like a song,
right.
you know.
Well, you got people even with songs, Diane, because you can be working on a song
Oh,
for
God.
5-6 years.
I got a couple of them now. I look at Bobby. I'm like, so is it gonna be this year? We only started with this song in 2023.
Yeah, I got a couple of pieces like that too that I'm working on.
Now it'll be over with, and that'll be
It's gotta
whole
be the
nother
right-
thing.
Yeah.
The right time for everything.
It is. isn't
Yeah.
it?
Because I got a couple of songs that I'm working on, and you want it to be right. I got a couple of songs that I'm going to even redo because I'm just not real
Happy
set with
the
it. Right.
arrangements.
Right. So it
Yeah.
just, it works like that. Well, tell us the work that you do with ITT.
IT.
Yeah,
Um,
IT.
One of my great blessings is that I was over at the Great Black Music Project first of all with Godfrey Mason.
Hmm.
And I was doing the Bronzeville Diva, the first iterance of it, before it would go to IT. And he said, I got this Great Black Music Project. I heard about your grandmother. Come do the voiceovers for that. So I did the voiceovers for all the artists from 1918 to 1930 who had come to
Really?
Chicago through the Great Black Migration and doing music. And with that, he says, I got another grant. I want to get some artists in here, let people know about it, bring your show. And so I started doing Bronzeville Diva in its second iterance, rather,
Hmm.
with Joan Colosso and Julia Huff. And then at the time, Leroy Kennedy was the vice president of community affairs at IIT, and he had been told by Barbara Kinsey about me. And they came
Okay.
over to see me. And as I was coming off of the stage, she said, I got to grab your hand, Senabella. I want you to meet somebody. And I said, hey, how you doing? And he says, look, I want you to come off and see me. I said, well, who are you? And he says, my name is Leroy Kennedy. I ain't nobody, but I sure would like to bring your show over to IIT. I said, IIT, what's that?
Oh, wow.
And he said, Illinois Institute of Technology. I said, that building always drive by? And he says, yeah. I'm like, wow, okay. So I said, well, I'll be back in Chicago in a couple of weeks and I'll come see you. So I went to see him. He gave me that little grant, told me I would be their first artist in residence that they brought in to do a series. So I started doing a show every month at first for the first 6 months. And I was being watched and computed and whatever they were calculating, what my success ratios were, what my audiences looked like. So with them doing that, it taught me a lot of things as well.
Absolutely.
Like I have to learn about how to build my audiences. What are the age ranges of my audiences? What are the color ratios of my audiences? Who's interested in this music? How is the music affecting the community? What does it look like when I'm putting up all these signs around IIT? And what is it attracting from the street into the building? I start having to become more mindful of things that I would not have necessarily thought about, But over at GBMP, it was historical. So I was thinking about the history of the music and the people who were doing music. And
Yeah.
with those things, that what it helped me do is to understand that I was around so many diverse talent in jazz, but of different kind of idioms, right?
Hmm.
Maggie had her own thing coming from her dad, right? Oscar
Yes.
Brown Jr. And then Dee had her own thing coming from the west side of Chicago, thick and gospel, but just with this phenomenal voice. And then there were so many other things. At that time I was still working with Bobby. I had begun to work with him, and he was saturating me into the real history of jazz from the Miles Davis perspective.
Wow.
So I was getting all of those things happening to me. So I began writing like crazy. And of course, like I said, I wrote Beautiful Time of the Year, which I should have sent that over. And When I'm With You, and they sent it to New York, and Kenny Webb got it, and he says, "Who is this girl?" He said, "I want to nominate her the best new jazz artist." And that's what he did. So I went to Cancun. They took me to Cancun first and then to New York, and I was awarded that. Yeah. So things were
Wow.
just happening as they are supposed to, but it
Mhm.
was happening to somebody who didn't really have the awareness of what it was supposed to do. So I just kept moving. Now people were more aware of me than I was. I'll say that today. I can
That's what
honestly
I'm
say.
hearing. That's what's
Right.
amazing.
Yeah, but I was just so uh
But because I think because you're such a free spirited person,
mm,
and you talk,
mm,
you know, you're a talker.
Constantly.
And not only that, but she's easy to approach. She's very approachable. And when you're approachable, they knew that they knew what they were doing.
Cineabella, let me ask you a question.
That's a great opportunity.
What do you think it is about jazz that makes it a cultural treasure?
because it's not easily translatable. In other words, people are always trying to figure out what to do with it, where it comes from, what is real jazz and not. And some of that confusion comes with how it's been marketed. So let's say the Essence Fest had a jazz festival, but they had R&B singers and they had hip hop and stuff. So how is that jazz? So jazz fusion, right? Then we
Mhm.
had the confusion in the 90s with the jazz, right? And Patty Austin, who was staunch in jazz with a voice similar to yours, Zemrah, she was doing really well. And then here comes the Kenny G's and so forth, and it just transformed art into jazz into
Another
another
level.
kind of
Hmm.
art. And so there was this fight over between the old school sounds of jazz, you know, and then Wes Montgomery was different too, right? They all start transforming jazz into this new dynamic of horns in a different fashion, because horns were really a staple, I think,
Yeah.
in jazz.
Hmm.
Horns, guitars,
Yeah.
right?
Right.
But when you listen to Earl Hines and people like that, you just go, you understand it was a whole lot of things.
Yes.
Jazz has always been more than anything we could imagine.
I love it because it just, I mean, you can do everything with
But
it. You know,
jazz
just tell a
pulsates-
story. I just,
jazz pulsates at a higher register
Frequency, that's
and
right.
frequency,
Hmm.
and the whole universe works off of frequency.
Yes.
So the frequency is your relationship to the universe that have you thinking on a higher level. And that's why those who think on that level has a certain amount of sophistication about them and a certain amount, a lot of insight into the universe, because it's sound that makes the universe.
Mm.
It creates matter and color and everything else.
right. But I
You
wonder,
absolutely on
I
point.
think one of the things that kind of surprises me is you'd be surprised how many people don't really and truly relate or care for jazz.
Well, I'll be honest with you. I remember when I was down at the Cotton Club and I was just trying to be cute and go and stack my sticks and get a free drink, you know, and people were talking about all kind of things. You know what I'm saying? It didn't. And
It didn't register.
this guy said, "Hey, you want to go back to my spot and get a drink with me?" And I was brazen enough to do it. Now when I got there, he was playing jazz, but his place was so dusty and and dingy, I couldn't listen to the jazz, so I had to leave.
Right.
I was like,
What are
that's
you
jazz,
doing?
and I'm thinking I'll never do jazz after I heard it like that. So it can have a reputation based upon how you're exposed to it,
That's true.
and that was
Because I came
before
up, I
all the
was
stuff I'm telling you
13
about. Yeah.
listening to Dakota State and
Oh my
Nancy and,
gosh.
you know,
It's going at the late, late show.
yeah, girl.
Yes, yes.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Yeah.
Ella Fitzgerald, Sarah Vaughan.
Mr.
I mean, I'm
Paganini.
13 years old.
Yes, all that.
And I just, I like R&B, but
If
jazz just,
jazz relates to a certain spirit.
It does.
And you have to.
And I like smooth and quiet and
Romantic and
sensual,
gentle.
romantic. And I
Yeah,
think because
you
I'm a
do.
romanticist,
Yeah, you
so I
are.
love the music of. I just love jazz. I
It
do.
talks to you,
It
Mm.
and you
does.
don't have to talk back.
Yeah.
You can make up your own lyrics and your own
You
story.
can. You
You don't
really
need-
you
you don't
can
need-
you
you
can
don't
just
need
tell your own
words.
story.
Well, one thing about me and performance and the performance of the jazz is that it jumps inside of me.
Yeah.
And when I realized that I wasn't in control of what jazz was doing to me, I was also discovering that I had more range, more power in my vocals. And I also was discovering that I was making up new lyrics to songs that were existing already. And people were like, she forgot the words. And I'm like, no,
No, I did
wasn't-
what I wanted
was
to do with
yeah,
it.
yeah. And that was not easy because I had a lot of criticism because jazz is so holy to some people.
Yeah.
You can't mess up the words when you sing
know,
it.
they go
You couldn't
wrong.
possibly sing it. But then I started seeing and listening to artists like Ella Fitzgerald, who would say, I can't remember the name to this song.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, me too, me too, me too. I can't remember the name to this song. you know?
Yeah.
And so you realize it's possible to go ahead and sort of rewrite the vision of that feeling that was interpreted in
That's
that
right.
song.
Because I mean, that's how you. If a person, that's how a person feels. You can add some other words. I've done that too. Like Hermine describes me as Zemrah with a twist,
Mhm.
and that's me. But we're gonna take a quick break so we can hear some of Miss Cineabella's music, and we're gonna listen to If You Ask Me to.
Used to be that I believed in something. Used to be that I believed in love. It's been a long time since I've had that feeling. I could love someone, I could trust someone. I said I'd never let nobody in my heart again, darling. I said I'd never let nobody in. But if you ask me to, I just might change my mind and let you in my life forever. If you ask me to, I just might give my heart and stay here in your arms forever. If you ask me to, if you ask me to, somehow, ever since I've been around you, can't go back to being on my own. Can't help feeling, darling, since I found you, that I found my home, that I'm finally home. I said I'd never let nobody get too close to me, darling. I said I needed to be free. If you ask me to, I just might change my mind and let you in my life forever. If you ask me to, I just might give my heart and stay here in your arms forever.
I love that Cineabella.
If you
That is nice. Now let me ask you this. Now,
And even more so.
I mean that is smooth and nice.
Thank you.
You have some great musicians. Now, was
Yes.
Bobby on that?
Bobby produced this album.
Oh man, that's sweet there.
We've done 3 albums together. So he's I have my original stuff that he's done that we're working on, and let's make the most of this thing. And on
Yeah.
it I write songs like Life is Like and I Can Tell It's Spring.
See, that's a blessing when
Yeah.
you got a keyboardist like Bobby that feels you and you can work with. I mean,
He's a maestro.
he
Definitely
is.
that.
He is
His
just that.
arrangements and his musicality is beyond belief sometimes. And
Yes.
because he works with such a diverse group of artists, and they're not just centered in jazz, he has all the remnants of gospel and jazz, R&B, and hip hop. His kids are hip hop, and they also are wordsmiths. And so when you listen to the album we co-produced together, Art of Protest, you get the flavor of all these different people that are on it. It's a compilation CD that I went to him about and said, hey, I had just finished doing
I think I have that
Strange
one.
Fruit.
Yes, I got that. That's
And
nice.
I did that. I was dreaming about that song because I was asked by ETA to do a reading with someone was doing a reading with James Baldwin, and they asked if I would do Strange Fruit with it.
Yes.
And so I went home and slept, and I woke up with this arrangement in my head, and I said, Bobby, you have to do this with me.
Now, what studio do you all work out of?
We work in a place called Uptown in on the north side of Chicago. Yeah.
Because that's what I've been looking for, a really, really good studio.
Yeah, well, with this particular one, the entry to that is through Bobby, and so it'll be a great situation for you. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
He does great work, and he goes out and works with some of the biggest names, so you get great quality production and you get great musicianship. And Bobby is so fascinating to work with for many reasons. He's just Mr. Hospitality. So when you're in his
space, I know
you're just there, you're just simmering and
I was so happy to see him last week. At the festival.
Resting in that certainty, he always reassures you that what you're doing is what you should be doing, and he takes that pattern and he weaves the arrangements around your pattern, and you go, oh, that's what I meant. I think I thought I did that.
And he seems to be such a pleasure to work with, because he's not, sometimes I find a lot of our musicians can be kind of temperamental and just kind of impatient and just.
Well, if he is, it's in his arrangements. It wouldn't be in his spirit, as in what you would get.
That's what I'm talking about, in spirit.
He's a real sage.
Yeah. I watched him at the festival, and just people just gravitate to him. Because he has such a great spirit. He is.
Yeah.
So you really, I know that you know how blessed you are to have that.
He's 9 years with Miles Davis. He's did 6 of his albums. The city honored him with a name a day after him for Bobby Irving.
Really?
Park. Yeah.
Yeah.
And he was my door.
That's what I'm saying.
He was definitely my door, but Danny Leake was my door too, and I met them both separately.
Okay.
Robert Irving, an attorney who I knew at the time, took me to Bobby, but I knew Bobby already. And then he took me to Danny Leake. And when he took me to Danny Leake, it was like, this is where you want to have anything that you have recorded, mastered, produced, or whatever, at Universal down on Rush Street. And
really?
He lived in the penthouse across the street. And I was like, wow, he's a black man living in a penthouse across the street. And
I know you caught that.
Records, you know what I'm saying? The studio.
Yeah.
And so he literally mastered 2 of my CDs. The one that I wrote, my first original, and he did the first one that Bobby did. Yeah, he when you all hear Overjoyed, he was working at that time for Stevie Wonder. He was 30 years with Stevie Wonder before he died.
Get out.
Yes. And so he mastered my CDs for me. And he did 2 of my.
Because that's the key, is the mastering.
Yeah, I have a song that I wrote called "What's Understanding My Love" that you would whip that to life, baby. But he did the first iterance of it, and put me up to his $50,000 mic, and he had cats in his apartment, and the mic picked up everything. I remember he had to pick the cat up and take the cat out the room. That's how sensitive the mic was. And he said Pavarotti rented the mic when he came in town. So when you hear that, you hear me singing "What Is Understanding," and it's so crystal clear. It's that mic. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It was quite an experience.
I can imagine.
As a friend like that. Yeah.
And so he passed?
Yes, he did, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you now about fonder relativity. What is that?
Fonder.
Fonder, F-O, you sent me that. I thought it was like with a group of women or something, and right up under that you had that.
Now you see, I'm quiet because I'm like, I'm not about to say I know something about fonder. I like find her, or is I'm fond of her, or
Yeah, because that's what I was thinking. Fonder,
Mm.
F-O, yeah. But anyway, tell us a little bit about the young people with the
oh,
symposium.
the
music.
founder of Young Diva Dung Diva.
Yeah, but that's not on there. It's literally F-O-D-D-E-R.
Okay, some fodder.
So they
So
made
it
it.
might have meant fodder for some kind of conversation.
Right.
Yeah, but Young Diva, Young
That's what
Devo.
it is.
Now, see, here we are. We're in relationship still. So Bobby calls me and he said, Senabella, I'm doing the story for Tim Black. And the Jazz Institute has asked me to produce his album. And so Tim Black and he wrote the music together, the lyrics for this album for Tim Black. And at that time, I knew Tim Black. I had been in a parade with him a couple of times, and he was just a fascinating older man, but I didn't know him. But I was always excited to be whenever I sang somewhere and it was just this serendipitous moment, he would show up. So I'm like, this guy's somebody. So then Bobby says they're going to do a big celebration for his 100th birthday. I'm like, he's 100? He's 100? I'm like, really? He's 100?
And still doing it.
He said, yeah, I want you to come and run the video for me. So I said, oh, okay. So it was at South Shore. The room was packed. Timuel Black and Zenobia were there, and all of the contemporaries that are part of their life. Every government official, people from all kind of countries had come to give him awards and all kind of things. And I'm sitting there dead center like this microphone, and I'm looking at the stage and working the video and making sure all the video portions come up for each song for Bobby when he's on stage. Dee and Maggie are up there singing with his brother Mike. He's got like a 15-piece band, right? Orchestra. And he's up there, and when he's moving, you could see his hands going across the shadow of the screen. And so the music lyrics were prompted to come at the time he was moving. So I'm doing this, and Timuel Black is to my left, and all of these people, and I'm like, I can't look behind. I can't look behind. So I'm paying attention to this dynamic music that they've written, telling the story of Timuel Black. And I'm going, wow. But a part of me is like, I wish I could produce that myself.
Okay.
So when it was over with, I said, Bobby, he said, what? I got something I need to tell you. He said, okay. I said, let's go sit down and eat some food because I know you're hungry. He said, yeah. I said, I'm going to see if I can find you some vegetables. I'm going to get me some meat. I'll meet you in the back. He said, okay. So we go and we sit down, and he looks at me, and I know he's hungry because he always showed up hungry. And I'm sitting there, and I get my chicken in one hand. And I'm looking. I said, I really like this music and stuff you did, but I see a whole new vision for it. He said, what do you see? I see young kids doing it. And he said, what? I said, I see young children singing his story. He said, that sounds interesting. I said, I think if we replace the vocals and the musicians with all young people and put Dr. Black back in that room again with kids telling his story, we will bridge the gap of his life by 100 years and plus with kids who are now telling his story while he's alive in the audience. And he said, let's do it.
Wow.
And we, in 6 months, did it.
And what was the age?
Our kids were 14, 15, 17, up to 22. I had 7 youth. I went out and just started looking for kids. He had a plethora of them because he was already at the Jazz Institute, doing all that. And so he put together a 13-piece youth orchestra. And I went and found the kids. And I grabbed his daughter, Sharon, and brought her in. And people were like, come and do a show. And if I saw somebody on it was young and they could really sing, I'd grab them and say, give me your number. And then I get them. So they all came to me. And Bobby and I came in my building and downstairs every Sunday for the next 3 months. Rehearsing this
pulling
music,
that together.
It was super dynamic.
You talk about passing the torch.
That was truly passing
super
the torch.
Dynamic. So if you go to YouTube and you look up Young Diva, Young Devo, or Sonic Portraits Jazz, and you see it, you can see what we did. And you see these dynamic kids. And I went and found people to give. I called my sister-in-law, Tiamo's wife, Alifa. I need some gowns and some tuxedos for these kids. And so we got them all dressed up. And the day before the show, or a few days before the show, we were rehearsing everywhere. We went from my place into the Metropolitan, into the Met where Dr. Finney was at. He opened the doors and let us come over there, and we rehearsed there. We went to Denise Harrington's house in her living room, and we just were rehearsing and working and the kids. And so somewhere toward the end, I started being a little pushy, because at first it was like, let me just have the methodology that Bobby has, which is graciousness.
But in order to really get it done,
I'm more like pushiness.
Yeah, you get it done, but you got it done.
A little different style, of pushiness, not overbearing. But, I think that
knowing you with that mother spirit.
Yeah, I was always that. And then the day of the show, I just took him to the back in the dressing room. I said, look, this side is going to go, and this is what we're going to do.
And let's get it done.
Whatever your personal feelings are, whatever you're afraid of, it's too late. We're about to go on this stage. I expect you to do your best. When you see my face, I want you to move left, and I want you to move right. See this hand here? I want you to do this, do that. I said, by the way, this is my production. I know I haven't said it, but I need you to act right.
So they knew what they had to do.
I had the most dynamic children in Chicago, and Genesis Denise Hale was already on The Shy. And I walk into her rehearsal not knowing who she is. And I'm like, I don't know who you are. Where's your mother at? I need to talk to her. And she said, well, my mother is coming if you'd like to wait. I said, I will. And while I'm waiting, can you sing again? And the guy on the piano looked at me. He said, who are you? I said, my name is Cineabella. Thank you so much. And I shook his hand. I said, can you just play anything so I can hear her sing again? And he said, yeah. Here, I think I'm giving her an opportunity. She already was in an opportunity. She was on The Shy. I didn't know. And her mother comes in. And let me tell you, her mama is all that and a whole gallon of milk. When I tell you her mama's everything. And she comes in, she goes by Butterfly Dawn now. She sings all over Chicago. Dynamic voice. And I said, I want your daughter to be a part of my production.
Now, what type of music? I haven't heard of her.
Oh, girl, I'm going to hip you to her. You're going to have to go to her Instagram. She is cold, super bad.
Oh,
her
yeah.
Her daughter is cold, super bad, too.
What?
But
and how old is she, the daughter?
Oh, she's got to be at least 20 now. At least, maybe close to.
And they do jazz, Senabella?
She was doing R&B. When we had them in the show, the story is comprised of jazz. The way that Bobby wrote it, it's like a fusion of jazz with a little theatrics. Like it could be Hamilton, it could be that,
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Because they have 1, 2. We were known as Negroes, then that other name of shame. Then Jesse came, and then African American is what they claim. So the kids are singing these. And it's the kids are singing it and knocking it out on stage, and it's just people are like sitting with clenched teeth and jumping up on their feet, and you could hear people going, what? And we were blessed to have the 3rd top ranking pianist in youth in the nation playing piano, Joshua Moon. He was 16. His father, June Moon, who before he passed, he and Bobby were good friends, and his former wife. And he said, look, we like to get Joshua on the show. And so Joshua came and he performed that night, and he did 2-3 songs. He was just amazing. It was the multicultural collective of Sonic Portraits Youth Orchestra.
Oh, Senabella.
Yes, it was amazing. So
now, where was it?
It was at IIT in the Schultz Auditorium.
Girl.
Yeah.
How come I didn't hear about that?
Yeah, I wonder how come
I was busy working. That's probably
you sure
it.
was, because we would have definitely wanted to come to that.
I began to put it out, and we were going to do another one, and COVID hit.
Okay.
So it happened in 2019. And then COVID hit, and so we were shut down for 3 years.
We got to do a QR code for Bella. So when you hear
what is she doing next?
What is she doing next? And what's happening that she's in charge of?
Now, what are you doing next?
Unfortunately, a very dear friend of mine passed. His name is Michael Boyd.
I saw that. My heart broke for you.
He was in movies. He did movies. He was everything. He did a lot of stuff. So we're going to celebrate his life on the 21st. On the 19th, I'll be at at Push in the Morning, Dwight McKee, my big brother, my mentor, he is doing the second part of What Do We Teach Our Children? And I work as production manager behind the scenes doing things for them. And I'll go and help set that up. Dr. Cornell West, John Rogers, Father Michael Flager, T.O. Hardiman, and Dr. Michael. I'm about to mess his last name. Don't know me do. I'm just excited. But it's such a dynamic lineup in this second iterance of it. It's a symposium, and they're going to be speaking on what do we teach our children.
I was looking at that.
And so I did the first one, which I spoke.
That was in January.
I spoke on that one, and I had the honor of talking about the woman, and I used my opportunity in that symposium to talk about Adam and Eve and their relationship and the beginning of life and how it all came about and what we shouldn't take for granted.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
You are just a busy lady, for real, for real.
I do what I'm asked. I want to say that.
Now tell us and share with us your coffee break with Senabella on Friday morning at 7. Share with us some of your...
It's so funny. Everything keeps looping back to Bobby. Bobby gives me this here espresso machine, and he had gotten 2 as a present from a dear friend of his. You want this espresso machine? You drink coffee. I'm like, but I don't know about espresso machines. He says, well, come over my house and get it. I'm like, but I don't know about espresso machines. So he said, come get it. I'm like, okay, I'm coming to get the espresso machine. So I pick up the espresso machine. I take it home, and it's in the box for 2 weeks. And I finally take it out. It's a stainless steel, big old espresso machine. And I'm like, what am I going to do with it? I don't even know how to. I just know about getting coffee from Starbucks or from McDonald's. And so I said, well, maybe what I'll do is I'll go downstairs and sit on top of the desk, and I'll give everybody coffee in the morning when they leave to work. And then I got a call to come over to the Harris Park. And I said, okay, I'll go over. And over there was Asada Kirkland. I hadn't seen her in a while. She hadn't been well. So I wondered how she was doing. And ironically, she was sitting up front. And I saw her. She said, Cineabella. I'm like, Sada. So I go and sit next to her. And we have a great time that evening and sitting with our contemporaries, different people we work with. And the next morning she called me. She said, how'd you like to have your own show? I said, doing what? And she says, podcast. She said, you do whatever you want. She says, you're Senabella Bronzeville Diva. I said, I am. She said, yeah. I said, I am.
Still hasn't stuck in you.
That still doesn't. I don't resonate on that. I just don't get caught up in it. It wasn't meant for me. It was meant for us to understand and to build the history of our people, to make sure that it's clear that we are excellence.
And we are.
Yes. And that's why
all we need is the platform. That's what I love about having the opportunity here at IntellectualRadio.com to be able, and our producers, Wanda B. and Earl, are just fantastic.
Yes.
And I have to say, and during the pandemic and and then I was a little down for a while. So we were away for almost 1.5 years, and they still kept our same slot and our same, our same time.
And your Ed, yeah, I get that.
Yeah, I thought that was.
Well, you
that
were
was
part
phenomenal.
of Bronzeville Divas.
Yeah,
my first big show.
Yeah,
you were on it.
I was.
Yeah,
and I loved that with Maggie.
Yeah,
and
you.
Yes,
yes.
It was really, really nice.
Yes, that's what's up. That's what brought
I was looking at those pictures the other day.
Yeah.
So it's like, being able to have a platform where you can share your talent and be able to expound on the things that you feel and believe in I think it's a blessing.
It is.
It really is.
And to be a writer, period.
Right.
When when my brother died, before he died and he came back, I knew he was ill. I sat in the sofa. I sat in this chair next to my window, and I have a U-shaped place. It's got windows all over it, all through, my office, my bedroom. It all just comes around in a U. And so I'm sitting at the tip of the U in my chair, and I've learned that my brother is not well. And all of a sudden I have 10 songs transmitted to me through this energy, and I'm writing songs like crazy.
Yeah, you've always done that.
I wrote a song called Let's Make the Most of This Thing. So that was the transformation of, say, how I would envision sound, music, energy, everything, right? And I knew at that time that it wasn't about whether it was jazz or a style of it, that I was going to deliver whatever was on my heart.
Yeah.
And I just remember sitting there going, you're here, I'm here. We're here together. I know what you know, and when we know it, it's forever. I'll
Wow.
do what you do, and when we do it, it's together. I'll know what you know. When we know it, it's forever, baby. Let's make the most of this thing. Let's make the most of it all. Let's make the most of this thing. Let's make the most of it all.
Yeah.
Oh,
Nice.
the most of it all. The most of it all. The most of it all. Don't but that don't but don't that
That's
So, I
nice,
mean,
Senabella.
that
Now, have you recorded that yet?
we've got a rough on them right there. And life is like apples and oranges. Choose one which is right for you.
Hey.
So I was just
Well,
writing
that's gonna
songs
be a
like
nice.
crazy.
Oh, girl, that's gonna be good.
Yeah, just writing like
when
crazy.
you gonna get that out?
Girl, hopefully next year.
That is sweet.
Where,
Sound good.
Where do you see jazz going?
Oh,
Where would you
man.
like to take it to?
We definitely need to say that because during the pandemic,
We got to say it quick too, because our
I
time is
started
almost up.
during the pandemic, I started a podcast called Gen Z. And in it, I was asked to do that by a brother who was producing a television show. And I started doing these little 3-minute spots. And I was talking about the new kids on the ground who I thought were the future. One of those people was Isaiah Collier.
Really?
And his brother. Yeah, he and his brother. I had gone and I was checking them out at the spots and sitting in with them and stuff. And I said to myself, these two young guys right here are the future. And I had already had May Carter on our show for Bronzeville Divas, and I knew she was the future. And so today, those same people are now Grammy nominated people. Actually, he's got 2 Grammys now. His brother, Jeremiah, look, when I tell you, he's now out there with Stanley Clarke. He's kicking some serious jazz drums, but I mean, they're so dynamic. They come from dynamic parents. Their parents are dynamic. They understood their children. And Maya, she had a voice. Everybody said she sounded like she was too old to be singing the music. And today, now she's being celebrated. She went to Berkeley, came back. Now she's here on the ground. These are our Chicago Giants. Ken Burns had it right when he did that series. I wish it would have been me. I was thinking of doing the same thing, but he had the money and the time and effort, and he did it. So the essence of jazz is laid. We need to understand that. And the only thing that's going to make jazz survive is not the young people. It's the marketing and advertising. We have to formulate jazz into more than a thing, and it has to be the thing. We have to treat it like it's hip hop. We have to treat it with the same kind of money and outlets,
same kind of energy. Yes, all of that. You're right.
And so that's something that I want to do before the end of the year, is do a big concert with, in a hall for 900 people, and just do jazz for a big holiday show.
Yeah.
So that we could start putting it out. And I want people, and I was talking to Thaddeus Tukes and all of these young heads, hey, come, let's do this show. But I want to do it. I'm going to go ahead and say it and put it out there. I want to do 3 Kings on Christmas.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Nice.
Yep.
3 nice.
Kings. Yep.
Well, then when you got ideas, that's God reflecting.
Jazz should be sacred for us.
Yeah. That's who we are.
It is. And
quickly, because we're running out of time, unfortunately, but we want to hear Senabella. Oh, okay. All right. We're going to close with your song. So
I'm at Humboldt Park on July 26th.
Oh, are you? Okay.
Yeah. And I'll be over there. I'll give you the information. They can find it
on your
website, right?
And
okay.
And you're going to be performing?
Yeah, me and Bobby, right?
Oh, cool.
Me and R3.
Maybe we can catch that. What day is the 26th?
I don't know the day. I just know the date.
I think that's
coming up soon.
Yeah, at Humboldt Park.
Mm-hmm. I'll give you the West Humboldt Park
on the 26th.
Who are bringing me in, yeah. And Lawrence Smith really facilitated that for me. I have to give him some love. He did that, yeah. Oh,
that's Saturday after next.
Yeah.
Is it an evening thing?
Yes, it is 3 to 7.
Okay, make sure we get that.
Yeah,
get that information.
And I have some more things, and I need to be a little bit more diligent about it. Sometimes because I'm so caught up, like this weekend, I'll be on the red carpet in the evening after I finish with Dwight at Operation Push. I'll be on the red carpet for the We Dream in Color humanitarian awards.
Really? So you really and truly you have a serious musical schedule.
I have a serious schedule of events that I only do things that I believe that are for, I'm going to say this, that are made to help improve us as people.
Awesome.
So not even just my singing, but everything is about that for me. I feel like I'm in a place now where I'm supposed to be helping to put out the rest, the next, to give the next, to open the door, make the space in the room.
And you do that.
And so even if I sing, and I'm blessed to do that, and I'm very happy to do that, I'm more.
How much music did you make? Not a single song. Not a single song. I knew it. And I'll say,
Where'd that come
when
from?
I get my next big run, I'm definitely bringing my mic.
Yeah. So that's it. I'm happy to be doing my work.
Like
I'm always gonna sing.
Drop off. On those most of those days off, I was just sleeping.
You get better every year.
Eating. Like,
Thank you.
Texas and,
You know, it's such
Now, I don't know where this came from. My phone was down.
That's okay.
But anyway, we are so happy that you have joined us here at Intellectual Radio. And you answered a lot of my questions and emotions about this music thing, because jazz is it's me. That's who I am.
Mm-hmm.
And I always say that,
you're doing such a dynamic job.
I'm a balladeer. I love smooth, romantic music,
but
all
you
that
are the
thumping,
essence of what that's about.
And I love you for saying
it's
that.
It's the truth, though.
Yeah.
When you show up, then we know we're about to get jazz the way it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
So when I say Bronzeville Diva, that's what I mean.
Yeah.
Right?
Thank you, baby.
You carry
for
it,
that.
you embody it, you fulfill the mission. And you do write, and you sing, and you do encourage and inspire. So you are what the essence of jazz is. So if anybody should have a stamp, it should definitely be you.
I appreciate that so much.
Spoken by the Bronzeville Diva.
Yeah, Zemrah.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. No, he said spoken by the Bronzeville
Diva. No, I said,
Diva.
but you are Zemrah. Let's just keep it. And you can wear your name. I have to go, wait a minute, I am Cineabella. Let me just kind of put that out there. I do have a grandmother.
Well, I appreciate that. And we hope that you all have enjoyed this segment this evening with us. We're here every Tuesday from 6 to 7 p.m. And again, we really and truly hope that you enjoyed this segment with the Bronzeville Diva. And you know a little bit more about jazz right here. Now we're going to close out with another one of her tunes, and hope you enjoy it. You have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your evening. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Over time, I've been building my castles of love. Just for two, though you never knew you were my reason. I've gone much too far for you now to say that I've got to throw my castle away over dreams. I have picked out a perfect come true. Though you it was of you I'm dreaming. The Sandman has come from too far away for you to say come back some other day. And though you don't believe that they do come true.